Less than a minute. You can start recording.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. I did.
Hope this is not too big on me. All right. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me? If you can hear me, maybe you could just like give a thumbs up or you unmute yourself. Hello.
We can hear you.
All right, cool. Jimmy, can you hear me? Ryan, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, cool. So let's get started. So my first slide, Hack the Skies 2025 workshop, right? So let's go. Let's move on to the next. All right. So I decided to put this picture on my second slide, just like as you can see, these are students trying to like solve a problem, right? And that is what product management is all about, right? So on to the next slide. So the table of contents, basically what we're looking at is, first of all, talk about my intro, right? So I have a kind of intro about myself and my journey as a product manager. Who is a product manager? Introduction to product management, the core pillars of product management, the why, solving problems, the key document a product manager must own, right? Then we are going to talk about your path to top tier product management. And I added something about a few minutes ago, it skipped my mind, which is this, right? Typical career path stages, truth or lies. So this is like a game, right? I'm going to pick about few persons. I will like I just want to like know if you're following. So let's go. All right. So as you can see my intro, I'm a product manager with over 2 years of experience, and I've worked on multiple projects, right? Talking about the industries, I've worked on fintech products. That is currently now I'm with Bumima and we deal on fintechs, right? I've worked on SaaS products, sports tech and health tech, right? Probably you might be thinking, this is kind of boring, but trust me, this is one of the coolest job you can ever have, right? So you have to just think about you being the CEO of a product, right? You being the CEO or the captain of a product, right? Or the director of like your favorite movie or something, right? So it's just how you have to like picture it. Okay. And okay, my name is Beloved Nzako. Yeah, and I'm in Nigeria. Okay. And my product management journey started before before I graduated from higher institution and I studied business management. So it's kind of, yeah, so let's go. So in the next couple of hours, like in less than an hour, we are going to talk about some things about product management, right? All about solving problem and trying to um, catch up with the trend to make sure what you are doing the right thing. You're not just doing something that people don't want or people don't like. Okay. So now most of you here are product managers, but you don't even know. So I believe when you dive deeper, you materialize that. So who is the product manager? A product manager is an individual, right, who is responsible for the strategy, okay, the roadmap, and you have to like define the feature of the product, right? Which can be physical products or digital products. Like I said earlier, you're just like the CEO of the products, okay? And you need to connect with the needs of the customers, which is very important, the goals of the business and technology as well too, okay? So let's move on to the next. Introduction to product management. Product management is basically like a discipline of guiding a product through its entire product life cycle, right? From concept to the development throughout the market, from ideation to launch, right? And you keep iterating on and on and on, okay? And as a product manager, you are responsible for identifying market opportunities. And you have to define the vision of your product, which is most importantly, you work with cross-functional teams where we have the design team, we have the engineering team, we have the QA and all that. We have all these people with you. So as a product manager, you are to work with these people to achieve whatever you want to achieve, which is you bringing your vision to life. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So as you can see, this is like a diagram. I'm trying to illustrate something here, and then something that we really have to dive into. Okay, so let's go. As you can see, this circle here, UX. So let me go on with the first. We have the business, we have the technology, and the user experience, okay? So now we are talking about the business and UX technology. So as you can see, the business and UX, they kind of intersect, okay? And you can see UX and technology, the same thing, and we have the business and technology, the same thing too as well. But where does a product manager comes in? As you can see, this is it, right? So we wear so many hats, right? The business side, the UX side, talking about the design aspect as well, and technology too, okay? So let's move on to the next. So here we have to like understand something, the business, the technology, and the user experience. So basically talking about the business, you have to understand the market dynamics, right? You have to look into the competitive landscape aspect, the revenue models, and you have to, your product must create value to the company and its stakeholders, right? So if you're talking about stakeholders, we have the internal and the external stakeholders. We'll dive into that as we go on. Then the technology aspect, you have to ensure that your design, your engineering team, they are building robust solutions, right? You have to also scale it as well and make sure whatever you are building is on point, right? Then the user experience as well. You have to understand the user needs. You have to understand the pain points and the desires, right? And you ensure that whatever you are doing, you are genuinely solving the problem of the users. So if you can recap, right from when I started this slide, I said something about solving problem. You are always solving problem. You are always solving problem. So let's move on to the next. The why, solving problems, right? Product management, right? We are problem solvers. As a product manager, you have to be a problem solver. And every successful product exists because you genuinely address the needs and the pain points in the market, right? So let's talk about the roles of a product manager, okay? And now the first I will go is you have to identify whatever you're solving, okay? In order for you to identify whatever you're solving, you have to conduct a user research, right? You really need to know what you want to solve. You have to conduct a research on what you intend solving. User interviews too as well. You need to conduct user interviews, right? And it could be you sending out forms like Google Forms or what have you, to really know what the user wants, or it can be a 1v1 on a 1v1 situation where you have to like hear the pain points of the users, okay, and market analysis too as well. Then what you need to do, the next thing you need to do is to validate the problem, right? You have to know, or you have to look into this problem to see if it's worth giving a solution, right? So you don't just sit there and waste your time. There are some products that are being like, they started with the product, and at the end of the day, the products just like ended. You understand? Why? Because you really need to look into all these things. You need to check all these things in order for you to know what you are actually doing, okay? Then the next one, you need to define how the product will solve problems, right? You need to define how it will solve problems, and it could be feasible, valuable, or desirable, right? Then you need to ensure the solution is balanced, right? If you realize, I'm always talking about one thing: solving problems. The user needs, you really need to meet up with the user needs, right? And then you continuously iterate. That is, whatever you've built, you need to keep going on and on and on so that you stay relevant in the market, right? And how can you do this, or how can you achieve this? You can achieve this by always going through your user feedbacks, right? So whatever the users, they always talk about the product. Okay, I like this product, and the product is nice, but there's this feature that's kind of missing, right? So you as a product manager, you really need to look into this to keep building and improving your product, right? So as a product manager, you're a problem solver first and foremost. You could be working on mobile applications, you could be working on services, physical products, and software platforms too as well, okay? But the underlying thing is you really need to know what the people need and build genuine products to improve their lives, okay? So on to the next, sorry. Now, the key document a product manager must own, okay? So let's say, for example, I have this key. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, you can see it, right? Because I had to blur it. So I have a mic here with me, and this is a physical product, okay? Now, as a product manager, you really need to come up with the why. Ask this question, why? So you come up with a strategy and vision document. The first you have to come up with is a product strategy, and a product strategy and vision document, right? Which basically talks about how the purpose of the product, right? The problem it solves, the target market, and the long-term goals. And you have to talk about the North Star metrics, in that document. For example, where I work, right? I work as a product manager for Bumima. And what we basically do is we have an auto trading kind of platform, right, where you can trade your digital asset and your cryptocurrencies, digital asset, and all that, right? And the North Star metric we have, it's what? Average wallet size. Okay. Now, if you are talking about the North Star metrics for WhatsApp, is the number of messages being sent. For every product you use, there's always a North Star metric. Okay. Maybe after that, you can go and check the North Star metric of Apple. You can check the North Star metric of Netflix. And you can see that all these things, they were definitely involved in the product strategy document. We have the business case, which basically talks about the market opportunities, potential revenues, cost on development, and all that, the return on investment. Then you have the KPIs, right? So this is where you come to like track success, you measure success, okay? These documents are really important. Then the next one we talk about is the requirement and planning documents. When we talk about requirements and planning documents, that is where we have this question, right? What needs to be built and when? Okay. Now we have the PRUD, right? Product requirement document. I've written so many PRUDs. Maybe after this slide, I'm going to show you an example of a PRUD that I wrote about a year plus. right? So this PR reading now, we're talking about it definitely outlined the goals, right? You outline the fundamental requirements. It could be the features, which is definitely going to be involved there, the user stories. And underneath the user stories, we have the acceptance criteria. I'm going to show you guys that, okay? And now we talk about the success metrics. Then for the market requirement document, we are talking about, we are going to focus basically on the needs of the market and the customers, right? Target audience, and we ensure that the problem we are solving is worth solving. Then the product roadmap is just like a high visual summary of whatever you have to build. It could be like what I do on my product roadmap. I always put it on quarters, right? Q1, Q2, Q3, depending on how the project looks like or how long it's going to take. So this document, it's a kind of document that I used to communicate with, is a tool we used to communicate with the stakeholders, right? And these tools, we are talking about tools like, don't worry, I'll show you the next slide. So I'll show you. Then the product backlog. This is where we talk about fixing bugs, right? And also listing out features. As a product manager, it's my duty to prioritize all this, right? There are so many features we have. Few years ago, WhatsApp, if you look at WhatsApp, if you go to your, if you post on your status, we don't have where you can like the picture, that love button down there. We don't have it, right? But it has been added. So all these things, like they're already in the product backlog, which they have a time frame on when you can effect this, right? And how the product managers they did this is because they had to prioritize. You don't just bring in things like that. You have to prioritize, okay? So let's go. Now, this is a sample of, I talked about the product roadmap and the product backlog. Yeah, so let's look at this. This is a product roadmap, right? As you can see, this is for the web team, the mobile team, and the marketing team, okay? So for that of the Q1 phase, which was like 2020, January, we were done with it. And this is like the month of from March to June, we have the Q2, right? As you can see. So when I talked about this product roadmap, the something is like we use this tool to communicate with the stakeholders, right? And the tools are like, we make use of Jira, for example. You can make use of Jira, right? To do this product plan. We can always do this, right? Then the backlog. When we are talking about backlog, so I don't know if you can zoom this for you guys. Okay, good. So this is a backlog, right? We have the backlog, we have the sprint backlog. And we call all these things here cards, right? So when you are done with your product requirement document, that is where you have all these things, right? You have the user stories, the acceptance criteria, and all that. So you come here and you put those things in these cards, right? And if you can look very well, you can see 0 to 3 written here. Okay, this 0 to 3 is, if you open it, if there's time I can show you, you open it. When we are done, the engineers or the designers, they are done whatever they're doing. They come here and they click on it, right? So it takes 1 over 3, 2 over 3. Then also these cards, if you are having a sprint, like this is a sprint backlog, you can always drag these cards. Like you can always drag these cards to wherever you want to drag it to when it's completed. So once you're looking at this, you see that there's a place that we have to do, we have doing, and we have done. So once it's done, and we also have ready for dev, right? So when the design team, they are done whatever they want to do, you can drop it here, and the development team, the engineers, they can also come here and look at it. Okay, so we can work on this, okay? That is how it's being done. So you share this with the stakeholders. So let's go on to the next slide. We're talking about the user and market understanding document, right? I'm not going to like read all this, but you can go back and check the slides much later, where we have the user persona, right? Where it talks about the goals and all that. Then we have the customer journey map. I have all these things, I have them, and I can show you if there is time. Then we have competitive analysis, the user story, and epics, right? Good. So this is where I want to explain something. Now I said something about user story. when writing a user story, right, in the product requirement documents, we say as a user, I want to take this very like seriously. This is always important as a user. So let's say Kazi is the user, right? Kazi is like the head of, let's just say Kazi is the head of Hack Disguise, right? So as a user, I'll put Kazi's name here, right? The goal now is I want to ensure people are present in this workshop, right? So they can take things out and learn, right? Or win social prizes or what have you. So this is how the user story is being done, right? This is how we work on user stories as a product manager. So let's move on to the next. We go to market and launch documents. So this document has to do with when you are done building and all that, you trying to like launch. This document is very important. The release notes is a document that summarizes new features, improve bugs, and what have you. The internal guides, FAQs, frequently asked questions. Okay, so there are some websites you go to. When you go below the website, you see where they have the FAQs, right? So these are questions that the users always have in mind to ask. You go there and you see the answers. Okay, then we have the customer-facing document and all that. You can always check this in the slide. Now, your path to a top-tier product management. Okay, so let's go. We have the strategy and vision. You have the execution and you have the leadership, right? What are the key responsibilities? You define the product vision, strategy, and roadmap. Then the end goal is what? To ensure the product aligns with the market, right? With the users, the needs, and long-term business goals, okay? Execution. You translate strategies into detailed requirements like the user stories, like I said earlier, and you have to prioritize your backlog to as well, which I've also said something on that. And then what is the goal? It guides the team, the cross-functional team of the engineers, the designers to build the product efficiently. Then leadership. As a product manager, you act as the voice of the customer. Yes, you act as the voice of the customer. So whatever the customers, they always tell you, you come and you relate it with the team, right? Then you also try to, okay, and you align internal stakeholders as well, the sales, the marketing, and what have you, okay? Now, what is the end goal? You have to secure internal buy-in and ensure successful launch and adoption, okay? Then, last but not the least, you have measurements where you have to like define and track metrics, right? You have to measure this to keep going. You have to measure to avoid churn. When you're talking about churn, like people who like sign up for an application and at the end of the day, they delete their account, they're no longer interested in the account. So you need to avoid, because these are kind of negative metrics that you need to avoid, right? So you need to continue building and building. This is like, it's very, very important, you as a product manager. So let's move on to the next. This is very interesting, right? The career path of being a product manager. So the first, we have an associate product manager, right? We can also call an associate product manager a junior product manager. We can call entry-level product manager associate. What do? You just focus on learning and you work with your senior product managers, right? Then for a product manager, which is, my mouth is dried. Okay, so for a product manager, this is the next stage, okay? And then this one depends on how you grow, okay? And you own the product roadmap, you manage the day-to-day aspect of the product lifecycle. Then the senior product manager as well is the next stage where you have to handle everything and you have to be a strategic thinker to influence and mentor product managers, right? You have to take like the broader scope of responsibility. Director of product, you're also a leader too as well, but you focus heavily on people's management, okay? Because you have to manage people. And one of the hardest things to do in this life is to manage people. Because you have people from different parts of the world, okay? And it's something that you really need to wear this hat to be able to manage these people, right? Then we have the VP of product, or you call them the head of product. These people are responsible to oversee the entire product, okay? The product department and managing budget. Then last but not the least, we have the CPO, the Chief Product Officer. So many persons along the line in the career, they find it difficult to attain this CPO level. Some persons stop at director of product, head of product. They find it difficult to attain this, but we can also achieve this, right? You have to be consistent. You have to keep learning, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. Don't be afraid to take on responsibilities. So this is the highest level for a very large organization, right? Like large organization like Netflix, Spotify, Apple, Meta, and what have you, okay? So let's move on to the next. Good. So I've been talking and talking and talking and talking. So I'd like to mention some people here. Okay, so let me start with Ryan, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, so if I call your name, please just like respond, okay?
Yeah.
JW Berry, are you there? Hello? Okay, Kazi, are you there? And Gloria.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go. Let's play this game real quick. Two truths and a lie. Okay, so let's go. A product manager writes all the codes. So in this game, there are two things here that are the truth and there's a lie. A product manager writes all the codes for the MVP, right? And a product manager spends more time talking to users than to engineers. And the product manager main goal is to reduce risks and maximize value. So Kazi, let's go. What do you think?
I think I'm like torn between the first and second, but I'm thinking the first one is the lie. That's what I'm thinking.
The first one is a lie, and the remaining ones, they are truth, right?
Yeah, so the second and third one are true. I think the first one is a lie.
Okay, so
That's my guess.
all right. So Ryan, how about you?
I think I'm gonna agree with Kazi, and I think the first one is the lie, and the other two are the truth.
Okay, Gloria, how about you?
I was thinking about it, but I know you talked a lot about how they spend a lot of time problem solving and talking to users and all that. So I think the first. It's gonna be embarrassing if we're all wrong, though.
Okay, so which is a lie and which is also the truth here?
Yeah, I think the first is the truth as well. Then the other two are the lie.
Ah, ah. The game says two truths and a lie. So we can't have two lies and a truth. Okay, so let's go. Let me go to the next person. I don't know how to pronounce your names, but let's go. AROV. How do you pronounce your name? Kazi, please help me. I'm seeing AROV there.
Yes.
So how do you pronounce?
Arnav or
Yeah.
who? Arnav. There's two Arnavs, I think.
Okay, so just the one with the first. Okay, let's go with Anav. Okay, Anav, how about you?
Me?
Yeah.
Wait, what? All right. I think the lie is a product manager writes all the code for the MVP, and the other two are the truth.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Okay, so two more persons, two more persons, two more persons. Okay, Kazi, pick two more persons.
But two more people.
Yeah.
Toddman, are you there? I think Toddman may be having issues.
I can't hear you.
Wait, Quincy, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what are you saying? Are you there? Kazi, are you there?
Me? I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said you should
Or
pick. Okay, Jimmy, let's go. Let me go
Jimmy?
with Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy. So what's your take?
I think that I think maybe the second one's the lie and the other two are true. Or it's a hard choice between the first and second one.
All right, all right. So maybe you all can take screenshot of this and I'll just give you the answer, okay? And I'll explain. So sad man, okay. So what do you think? Hello, sad man, are you there?
I think Sam has having issues with his Zoom.
All right, all right. So let me just give you the answers, right? Okay, let's go. So the first one is a lie, right? And the second and the third, they are true. Okay. Now, why did I say the first one is a lie? Product managers, we don't write codes, right? Because why are we writing codes when we have the engineers? You understand? We have the developers. Why are we writing codes? Well, this is it. There are some engineers, or lately, I've realized like people have been connecting with the transition from being engineers to product managers, right? So let me just give you a little story. What happened one certain time in my company. So this is it. We had a new product manager in the team, and we were trying to we were having a meeting, and she was kind of confused on the kind of product manager she wants to be, right? And my boss was like, okay, what do you think, beloved? Or what is your advice? And I said it there that, okay, you came from the engineering background, isn't it? You're supposed to be a technical product manager. Why? Because you can easily communicate with the engineering team. So for some of you here that you are in the engineer, like you are an engineer or developer or what have you, right? Software engineer or what have you, and you want to pivot into product management, you have to transition into being a technical product manager. You can easily communicate with the engineering team, right? Then we have product managers for the data side. The product managers are they really understand data analysis very well. Those ones that are product managers for that side. Then we have the AI product managers, right? Which is even the trend right now. So product managers, the traditional product managers are kind of transitioning into becoming AI product managers, right? And it's something that if you don't follow the trend, you'll be left behind. So I'm still saying that the first one, product managers, we don't write code at all. We don't. But we spend more time talking to the users than the engineers, right? And our main goal is to reduce or maximize risks. Okay? So what is the key takeaway? Product management is about balancing what is possible, that is the technology aspect, what is profitable in the business aspect, and what the users they really want, right? For the user experience, to create the product and to solve real problems by driving meaningful impact. So that's like the key takeaway. So yeah, questions. So if you have questions, feel free to
I
ask.
actually have a question for you.
All right.
Yeah, so you as a product manager, you clearly work in a team and everything. And I know that all the people at Hackathon at Hack the Skies this weekend, they're working in teams too. Do you have any specific things or tips that they could do to do stuff and work together?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So talking about what you have to do to work together, right? You should have a leader first and foremost, which is very important. And the product manager is a leader. You have the product vision. You have to write those documents and all that. But hackathon is something that is quick, right? So I was talking to Kazi one certain time and he explained it to me and I was like, oh, that's cool. But if you are building on a product, you definitely you must have a leader. And with all this, the whole document must be presented to the team. So everyone knows their role and what they are to do, right? When you have to do it and how you have to do it, right? And definitely there'll be conflicts in the team. So a product manager, your work is to do what? Your work is what, like we have what you call conflict resolution. A product manager, you are involved, like you are the one in charge of that. If the engineering team are having issues with the design team, you have to settle it. You understand? So it's something that you guys have to work together for you to achieve. But if there's chaos in the team, you can't achieve anything. So have I been able to answer your question?
Yeah, I definitely think so. That was really helpful. Thank you.
All right, all right. So is there any other question? Hello? You guys are
I
too
dropped
quiet, please. You guys are too quiet and
I dropped it in the chat because I have like people over, but I was like wondering like what's been the most exciting project you've worked on, and kind of like what stood out about it, and how like what were the key learnings from that basically.
come again.
So what's like been the most exciting project you've worked on? What stood out about it, and what was like the key thing you've learned from it?
Okay, so the most exciting product I've worked on was I've worked on so many. Let me think of some. Okay, the most exciting product I've worked on was this project, Pillars, right? It's for a basketball team, right, in the US. And I happened to like write the um okay, you know what? I'll share something with you guys. Just hold on. Let me share something real quick, real quick, real quick. Just hold on. Mm, real quick, real quick, real quick. Can you see my screen?
Yep,
All right.
you can.
Yeah.
Let me just do something. Okay, you can see my portfolio, right? So let's go. So TechFleet, the most exciting project that I've worked on, right? So I'll show you. So this is it. Okay. So I wrote something here. Yeah. So I could develop the strategy board, right? I had to the first phase, the strategy board wasn't making sense at all. So what did I do? I had to like work with the cross-functional team and the team lead as I then and how to develop it, right? Then I also tried as much as possible. So I managed the product backlog actually to prioritize and all that and be able to work on this. So this is it, right? This is it. So then the second question you asked, sorry, you said what is the most exciting product, and I've showed you. So the second question, come again, the second one.
The second part of it was just like, oh, what stood out about it, and like what did you learn from it basically?
Okay, so what I learned is what was good about it is the fact that I was able to like do what I've not done before, right? And I was ready to learn, which I came in contact with experienced people, and they're always there to like guide me. Okay, this is it and this is it, and we worked on it, right? And we're able to achieve it. So even when we're done, we had a product retrospective, which is this. I talked about it, as you can see, right? I talked about it, and this is the CEO of TechFleet. So Morgan is his name, and they talked about it and all that, and I was so excited that I was able to join, right? Then I talked about customer journey in one certain time. So this is what a customer journey looks like. As you can see, this is what it looks like. Yeah. So have I been able to answer your question?
Yeah, that actually answered it really well. Thank you. I don't know if you're keeping up with the chat. So firstly, people are saying your portfolio looks really nice. I agree. Feel free to share it. The second thing is,
Share my portfolio.
pardon?
should share my portfolio with you guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me
And the
look at the
second,
chat. I've not, okay, come again. Let me read
the
the chat.
second, yeah, there's a question in the chat as well from one of our other judges, JW Berry. So he asked, for a product manager, does marketing that product come into mind at all in your process? You mentioned how what the user wants is one of your focuses. So does that way you market it play a role in that research?
Come again.
It's in the chat, but basically
I'm
for a
not, I'm
product
not,
man,
I'm not seeing the chat though. I'm not seeing the chat. I've tried to look through the chat. I'm not seeing the chat. I don't know. Or is it on Discord? Is it on Discord you dropped
no, no,
this?
no, it's on the Zoom chat.
I'm
Um,
not seeing the chat
it
at
should
all.
be in the bottom of your screen, but
You
we're
might
gonna
have
agree.
to press the more button, then you
Okay,
can
okay,
see
I've
the
seen
chat.
everyone. Okay,
Oh,
okay. So what's the question?
yeah. So the question was, for a product manager, does marketing that product come into mind at all in your process? You mentioned how what the user wants is one of your focuses. So does the way you market it play a role in that research?
Yeah, it does. It does play a role in that research, right? So what the customers they want is what you have to really give them. Because I mean, you can't just give people what they don't want, okay? Although we all have our preference, like we know what we want, but that's where the prioritization comes in. So you have to put all this to consideration. Have I been able to answer the question?
The follow-up is like, do you collaborate with the marketing team?
Yes. I said something about external and internal and external stakeholders, right? So when we are talking about the internal stakeholders, we have the owners, right? The directors, and we also have the managers, that is the people in the managing team. Then the marketing team has to do with that of the marketing team. They are also part of the internal stakeholders. I do tell people this, that you can have the marketing team as part of the internal stakeholders, but some persons say they are still part of the external stakeholders. So you have to collaborate with them. Yes, you really have to collaborate with the marketing team. I mean, to get some kind of information, right? Decision making is very important. As a product manager, you have to make decisions. So you get all these things for you to be able to decide. Yeah.
Mm, I have a question actually of my own, just following up with that really quickly. I don't want to keep you here for too long, but also I was wondering that for a company, like from your experience, what teams would you say are like must-haves versus teams which are nice-to-haves? For example, but what I mean by that is oftentimes you'll have like engineering sub-teams, for example, where there's like two different engineering teams, like three different marketing teams, whatever, whatever. So in your opinion, like what teams do you think are necessary to run a successful like product?
All the teams are necessary, right? You don't have to look down on anyone. The engineering team, the marketing team, they are all important, right? So what you have to do is for you to be able to like listen to them and what they have, and whatever they have, like the issues that is going on in the team and all that, you have to pay attention to them. Then you go back to your drawing board as a product manager to prioritize all this, to know what to work on.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. So more questions, please, more questions. I'm
Uh,
begging you guys for questions. Okay.
Kudrov asked,
Uh,
What would you suggest to high school and college students looking to get into the product management skill? Yes, I love this question. So what I would suggest is I'll give you a little bit of my journey and how I started, okay? It's kind of awkward, but I'll just say it. Okay, so what I did was I've always loved product management, right? And for the fact that I've loved product management, I had to quit. In fact, I had to leave a kind of relationship that I was not cool with to build this career. So I had to leave that and I focused on my life. So I started taking courses, right? I took courses, and the courses that I took really helped me. From if a childhood friend of mine who happened to be a product manager, he has his own startup right now, and he shared courses with me. I always go to his house. I'm always reading, you understand, taking courses, getting my certifications. If you can go through my LinkedIn profile, you see all those things there, right? I did all those things. Why? Because I choose to lock in, and I'm so happy. Like what I did after taking those courses, right? Books. I started like I bought so many books. As you can see, I have books here, jotters and all that. And I've written and filled up about 3 of them, right? My thoughts and what and the way I have to improve as a product manager. So after taking all those courses, you have your certification. What do you have to do? You have to apply for internships for you to gain experience, right? You have to apply for internship for you to gain experience, which is definitely going to help you out in your journey. So there are different places you can go for internships, right? Even hackathons too as well. Also like make you to gain experience too, which is very, very important. So when you are done with that, you build your CV, right? You also take track of everything you do, right? Take note of everything you do. You build your CV, you build your portfolio. Then you try as much as possible to market yourself out there. You understand? Try as much as possible. You need to understand who a product manager is. Maybe after now, you can go to the slide. This is my slide, and you go through it, you browse, and you also check. But I believe after that, you've really fallen in love with the job, right? So have I been able to answer the question? Hello? Hello?
I think I answered it pretty well.
Okay. So, questions?
I had a question.
Okay.
When you're building like a roadmap for a product, how do you balance like long-term vision and like goals with like short-term like fire drills almost like if things go wrong?
Okay. So first and foremost, right? Can I share something with you guys? Jimmy, I think I'll just show you something, right? Because whenever I'm explaining something, I always like showing particular examples, right? So let's go. Let's dive into that. I have good. So I wanted to show you guys this, but let's just leave that and move on to the next. So this was like a PRE that I wrote one certain time, okay? Now, when the question that you asked, I want to give an answer to the question. When you have your MVPs, right? This was like a health tech kind of stuff. So period tracker, what have you, ovulation tracker for women and all that. So whenever you're building a product, okay, it's very important that you need to, there's what they call the Moscow framework, right? The Moscow framework, which is the must have, the should have, the could have, and won't have. Okay, are you there? So if you follow this framework, as you can see, we have the must have. This is very important, right? And I had to include all those things, right? If you follow this framework, you realize that you are doing what the people want. Then the other ones, when we talk about the should have, is very important to us as well, right? And that should have, you also bring it to play. Then we also have the could have and the won't have. So won't have is like what is not even important, we don't need it. So it should just be there. Have I been able to answer your question, Jimmy? Hello, Jimmy, are you there?
Yes. Thank you.
Have I been able to answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
This is a
So
really
that,
cool doc. It's super, super detailed.
yes. As you can see, what happened on this doc was, right? The first doc I created, I was not impressed, okay? And I was kind of having double kind of mind. So I had to contact my senior product manager. And she was like, okay, do you know what? Beloved, go and refine the document to explain it. Now, as you can see, this doc is detailed, right? Let me show you something. Whatever you see in this doc, I'll show you something now. Let me go up. Good. Here. All right. So this is it, right? You must have, you have the period tracker. Take a look at this, the period tracker. So I'll move on to the next, like this, that is Trello. This is Trello. Some you guys must have been like you're conversant to Trello, right? So this is the period tracker. So when I click on it, as you can see, the description as a woman with irregular period, blah, 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 blah. As you can see, it is written here, right? I seen it. This is from the document. Now, why did I take it to this Trello? Because I'm sharing it to the entire team, right? So those people that are involved, that are to work on it, the design team and all that, that are building, I share these things. Then I said something about user story. This thing I seen here is the user story I talked about. As a see the word as a woman with irregular period. I want to, as you can see, so I said something earlier, if you follow. Then the acceptance criteria is what goes in next, right? Which is, if you look at the document now, you can see the acceptance criteria. Users can impute and start and end date, blah, 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 like that. So this is it. As you can see, it is there. So now when the design team or the other team, they are like, the people that have assigned these tasks to you, you are done. You just come here and you click on it. When you click on it, it shows that it's successful, right? That's why I was saying something like 1/3, 2/3, and all that. So this is how it works. So as a product manager, you have to be conversant with writing PRODs. Like just think of any product you want to build. Like sit down and write this document and look at it, build it. Like just keep building and building and be adding it. You realize that the understanding is when you keep practicing and practicing, you get grounded in it. Okay, so hello.
That was a super cool doc. It was so detailed. Like Kazzy's saying, we need a long, detailed document like that for Hack the Skies. That's definitely like plans for next year. It's goals.
Okay, so if you need a long document like this for Hack the Skies, because I mean I've gone through your page on LinkedIn, right? And I'm really impressed with what I've seen. If you need this kind of document, we can always talk about it, right? There's so many mistakes that businesses they make. You want to build a business and you you just sit down and okay, this is the business I want to do. You really need to meet some persons to be able to explain some certain things to you and you build. Now that detailed document that you're seeing there, that document was what made us to achieve what we achieved. If you look at the picture of the slide, when I showed you the product backlog, that was what we used to attach to the product backlog. Do you understand? So that document is very, 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 very important. Documentation, PRD, product requirement document is very important. And you know the fun part about product requirement document? The fun part of it is you always adjust it. You don't just do it and you leave it. You always adjust it. There's always room for adjustment, right? So someone asked a question, how do you decide which feature belongs in your MVP versus later release? Okay, so you asked the question on how do I know the feature that belongs? How you know the feature that belongs is when you conduct a market research and all that, okay, and you know what you want to build, right? You've checked the competitors. If definitely for every product, there's always a competitor. Just like we have Apple Music, we have Spotify, right? So now your plan is there's something unique I want to build. There is something unique I want to build. And you tell these people that this is what you want to do, right? You prioritize it and you know how to build it. Then you realize that it still falls back to what I said earlier about the Moscow, using the Moscow. That is, you use Moscow framework when you are building a product. But it's not when you are done with that product, you don't use that framework again, right? That's how you know your must have, should have, could have, and won't have. I think I've answered this question before. So for that of the later release, it's on your backlog. So that is where the should have comes later. But most especially your must have is what comes first. So have I answered this question? Have I answered you? Please just comment on the chat if I've answered you. So Kazi,
Yeah.
so we are having a workshop and you all switched off your camera,
My camera's
making
been
me
off
making me
because
feel like making me feel like the bad person here.
no. My camera's been off because otherwise like it will spotlight me instead of you, and we want to see you obviously. Um, what's it called? I think we're about to go into like our lunchtime and activity room. If anyone has any final questions, the love is also in the Discord. So if you want to drop questions, I'm sure like that would also work. He's also one of our judges, so you'll be seeing him again later on. Um, if there's no final questions, beloved, thank you so much. Like, genuinely, I think this is one of the most informative workshops
Okay,
I've like attended in my life.
all
Yeah.
right, before you say the thank you, please, if you know you are not kind of busy, switch on your cameras, and I just want to take a screenshot of everyone.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
all right, that's nice. So why do you have the top of my glasses, Kazi?
Yeah. It's been my style for like a minute.
All right, so let's go. Let me take a screenshot. Okay, so okay, that's cool. Please turn on your cameras if you are less busy.
Guys, come on, photo time.
Okay, last but not the least, let me do this one. Okay, cool. So before we finish, there's something about that slide that I did not show you. So let me
Yeah.
just do that. Let me just do that. I must complete this slide. I must. Okay, so this is it about the slide. Thank you.
No, thank you. Like, yeah, no, like genuinely, I think this is like one of the most informative workshops I've been in my life. Like, I think it's something that like, even if like people aren't interested in business or whatever, there's something we could like all take away from this, whether it's like about marketing, whether it's about um how to effectively just come up with ideas, solve problems. So yeah, just genuinely thank you so much once again from the entire team.
All right. So in case there's anything you'd like me to help you on, you can always reach out to me. Then, oh, I just remember something. Please, let's try as much as possible to follow ourselves on LinkedIn. I would love to contact you all in this
It's
meeting.
6 o'clock.
I would love to have contact of you guys so we can always reach out and always communicate.
Sounds good. I think you posted your LinkedIn. Uh, can you send me your like this is like after, but can you send me like your portfolios site and everything, and I'll post everything in like our like updates channel and your
Sure,
LinkedIn as
sure.
well. Yeah.
All right, I'll send my
So I'm
portfolio
yeah, I'm
very
gonna
soon.
stop the